I want to share some resources with you because you may want something you can read, look at more, learn more about it, and there's so much out there, and it's hard to know where to start. Some helpful resources that you find online. If you see any of these people, they have some really great. I really go for the things that are really easy to understand, very straightforward, very practical. So that's what you're going to see in these. First of all, Matt Miller. So I've already mentioned him. He has a great website. He does Ditch That Textbook. Here is actually one of the books that he wrote. This is an excellent book. It is a very easy read. You can see it's very short, but just very practical on how if you want to use AI in the classroom, these are some ways you can do that. So that is Matt Miller. Monica Burns is another one. She has a great podcast. I listen to her often. She just has a great way of introducing tools, making them very usable, very practical, and she has some good helps there. Eric Kurtz is another one. He is Control-Alt-Achieve is the name of his website, so you can look him up. I don't know if he ever sleeps. He must work tirelessly because he's always putting out new ideas. He does a great job asking people to, like, how is this working for you? What are you seeing? They've had a lot of conversations about school policies on AI, and people have shared those so others can learn from them. He just has a really great following as well, and he really encourages that collaboration. So check that out. That's Eric Kurtz, Control-Alt-Achieve. ISTE, if you're familiar with the International Society of Technology and Education, they have great resources. I have been to their most recent conference where they talked a lot about being AI ready. And I really love that approach. It's not about totally embracing it, getting in there, doing everything we can with AI for the sake of AI. No, they talked about being ready to use it appropriately to guide students in their usage. And I love that term, and I'm kind of borrowing that from them as we wrap up these sessions. So again, that is ISTE. Let me show you a few books as well. If you're interested in maybe some materials you can have at your school or use individually. First of all here, this is AI for School Leaders by Vicki Eccles. I have been to a session where she actually taught through the main parts of this book. Excellent. It's just really practical, down to earth, not just using it for the sake of using it, but really using AI for productivity in ways. And it is for leaders. I get that. It says 62 ways to lighten your workload and focus on what matters. So that's why it is really practical. But a lot of those workload things are things that teachers do as well. Here's another one, How to Teach AI. This is by Dr. Rochelle Poth. She has a number of different books. She just came out with a new one as well. I've been to a number of her sessions. Again, she's really practical. She keeps up with the newest tools. And not that we need to always embrace those, but it's really helpful to know what's out there and how to use those. And this just really, she talks about weaving strategies and activities into the different content areas. And so I know how it is. Sometimes you think, okay, I'm not opposed to AI, but how on earth would I use it in my classroom? These are some tools that can help with that. This one is by Michael Hernandez. It's called Storytelling with Purpose. And at first I shied away from this book because I was like, well, I know what storytelling is and I know how you can use it. And it's good maybe with projects and things like that. But this is fantastic. Digital projects to ignite student curiosity. He talks a lot about how we can reimagine our assessments. He talks about those projects, making them authentic, still learning what the students know, still staying very true to rigor and to our content, our standards, but doing it differently. So I really recommend that one. Here are two by Liz Kolb, Kolb. So Learning First, Technology Second. This is the first book, and then In Practice. And again, this is talking about the importance of keeping technology in order. We don't want to just do technology for technology's sake or put it out front. But she just gives some really, really great ideas in here of how to keep that balance. And then one other, so these are not necessarily, faith-based books here, but this one is, and it's called From the Garden to the City, The Place of Technology in the Story of God. This is not necessarily just about AI or tools or things like that. It is more about how we view technology. And I know there's a lot of push for screen time. And by the way, that's appropriate screen time. And it always cracks me up when I'm listening to different podcasts and things like that, and they're harping on appropriate screen time. And that means taking technology out of the classroom. No, that's not correct. That's where they learn to use it correctly. That's where they're using it to learn, to grow, and be ready for their next phase. No, it's not about playing Angry Birds in the classroom. It's about using it appropriately. So I'm, putting that caveat with it. But what about their use of it at home? What about, different age groups using it? How do we use it? How dependent are we on it? How much has it become an accessory versus something that's really a tool? So just some interesting insights here about the role of technology in this day and age. Again, that's from the garden to the city. Brought to you by BJU Press.